And when there are over 16 plus expression menus you need to rebuild each time, you don't want to rebuild it again.
I don't blame you.
It's so
I don't blame you one bit on that. Wow.
16 maxed
That's
out
nuts.
menus you have to rebuild each time it broke. One at a time. One toggle at a time.
Welcome to Metaverse Degen. I'm Lion.
I'm Old Man Raptor, and we got one hell of a guest, and that is...
Hi there, I'm DownLyric.
Hello. Welcome back, DownLyric. It's a pleasure to see you again. It's like it's been a month.
Indeed.
It's good. It's good to see you again for the first time in a long while.
It's amazing that I'm alive after a month. Amazing.
I'm
glad
ask why.
Being a moth.
I was going to pop up and say, don't go towards the light. I don't know why I said that. It's just,
Been a lot of temptations. I swallowed a lantern, so I'm glowing now. But, here we are.
Yeah, there you go. At least they were nice enough when you swallowed it, they give you a hat to go with it to keep the light in.
Well, yeah, it's battery powered, so it's going to last quite a long time.
So, one of the things I got from last time, based on our conversation down there, because there's a lot of work you've done and lots of concepts we could talk about based on your work, but we didn't have the time to talk about. So, I kind of would like to kind of start with like your beginning days, since you did mention it in the previous episode that you did a lot of body horror stuff. What kind of complexities was there to like the Vrchat horror, body horror kind of thing?
I started with rigging myself. Rigging was one of the first places that drew my attention. And that's a big part that goes into body horror, was essentially rearranging the skeleton, shifting things around, and by rearranging the bones, it rearranges the mesh to create interesting versions of creatures. Some of them are a little goofy. Some of them have made people go genuinely, oh no. You ever heard of a best boy avatar?
No. What is a best boy avatar?
It's like how Dirty Raptor looks like, but imagine if I turned Dirty Raptor into a snail.
Oh God. No.
S-Car Raptor?
What? You don't need you get those abs. You don't need arms or legs. Get them abs. Get them.
Yeah. And look on the bright side. Look at the trail I leave behind, and everybody know where I've been. That'd be a bitch.
Oh yeah. A couple of my most unique avatars came specifically from gift avatars for friends, where those that were longtime friends of mine, who there was a point in time where I was really dabbling and experimenting, and those that were my frequent friends in the early days, I would express my language, my love language of gift giving, as that is one of my main love languages, to show I care and appreciate somebody. By finding an avatar that's similar to what they use, or even better, the avatar if I can get my hands on it, and then I'd make a custom version of it.
Oh, wow.
However, back in the day, all of them were horror versions of the avatar. So one was a best boy that became the best snail boy. One was a volley that became who has eyes that can see through the back of its head, molten lava skin.
Oh.
And you can hear the screams of the damned inside of its stomach. It is 30 feet tall.
Oh, damn.
Let's see. And one was a fox that can watch you through walls.
Oh, that whole
and
concept
you see its eyes
great.
through walls.
Ah,
it was.
That sounds dope.
It was a fun, good time. I'm starting to tap back into those roots. I've had a bit of a disassociation over the past year with how I want to approach avatars. As I've had the urge to go start working on stuff I worked on years ago, and go back to that horror aspect. However, it's been so long over these past 3 years of developing that there are very few people still on who knew me from back in my first year of VR chat.
Oh.
Most people who know me now don't even know that I made horror avatars. I have I have several hundreds of avatars that the people who I am the most associated with now have no idea about and have never seen just because I don't bring them out.
Hmm.
And I've wanted to tap back into that, but it's caused a bit of an identity issue, as the modern people know me for very bright, cheery, and chipperness, and bringing bright, colorful lights, happy, positive attitudes. But at the same time, my roots and where I started and came from were inside horror genre
Hmm.
and specializing in horror factors.
Why don't you?
And it led to Oh, go ahead.
Why don't you do like, instead of like trying to force your newer audience to see lots of horror stuff, why not like celebrate the spooky season by kind of tapping back into those kinds of things? That way, they would expect that from you celebrating Halloween, but then once it's over, they can
Which
go back
is what
to cheery
I've
and
been
happy.
doing.
Hmm.
Which is what I've been doing. I've been starting it already. I've been telling people I'm getting into spookality and HorrorCon
Oh.
early. The announcement that HorrorCon was coming is the thing that really got me back into the swing and willing to commit back into it.
Oh.
Because I would love to do the horror avatars again. I'm just fearful that that the people who know me for one way and I don't know how they might feel about the other way. Because there was a point in time where I spent now I spend 2 hours on this game entertaining with bright, colorful performing avatars just to bring people a smile, give them a clap, give them an experience they can only get in VR. But there was a time years ago where I'd spend 2 hours in a dark, black, empty room where the only light source was a single lantern with a range of about 10 feet, and I'd have a couple people in a corner while I'm in the other end of this large room, and all they can see is my eyes and hear strange growling and alien noises as I come out of the shadows.
Oh. Well, just thinking.
That used to be.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
No, you continue first.
I was going to say, because there's also an entertainment factor in horror. It's why horror is one of the number one most popular genres and most frequent to see in theaters. Movies, media, games. Horror is always popping off. There's always a trending horror game going around. And so horror has its own appeal in its own way. It's trying to merge those two aspects that I've found to be a bit tricky. But it's still fun nonetheless when I get to. And some people have been taking positively to me deep diving back into that vein.
Well, considering some of the newer stuff you've worked on with your cheery side, with like dimensions and other world stuff, using those skills to portray horror, I'm sure it would add a whole other new experience you could provide as well, using what you've learned now and what you do now, and then applying fear into it.
Indeed, there's definitely some things I can do now that I couldn't do back then, including I can now send people to different dimensions or just take them away. Let me tell you, that's an interesting experience for both parties. If you walk up to two people and just get one of them to touch an orb you're holding and they're just gone, they're experiencing something scary inside of the orb, and their friend just goes, Where'd my friend go? It's like, he's in the orb now.
You know,
he's in the orb.
A really cool idea for HorrorCon is you could take your salesman avatar and do just that. Just go around the entire festival acting as a salesman. Would you like to see something cool? And then just have them boop the sphere and gone and just walk away. And then the friends will come back a little later.
I could do that. The salesman is actually one of my all-time favorite avatars I've ever created.
Mm.
By quite a good margin. He is definitely top 3. As he is the perfect halfway seg point between those two parts of me. Equal entertainer and wower, but also mixed in with a bit of psychological horror going on with him, as he's very strange. The stuff he doesn't make sense, and neither does the things he says, but it's so intriguing and so unpredictable in its nature that people can't. It's one of those things where you feel like you can't look away. And that was the vibe I wanted to present with it, was that it's, something's off, but you're too enticed to leave now. You're already in it.
What is the most difficult avatar in the haunted part of it that you ever created?
Most difficult avatar I've ever created? That
In
would
the haunted,
probably...
in the haunted part of it.
Spooky set. In the horror section. That's a tough answer, actually. That's a genuinely tough answer. I would say the occult animation. The occult animation is horror genre. It wasn't really designed to scare. It was just meant to be in the horror genre. It is a 6-minute occult ritual animation that consumes an entire world and turns the entire world into the grounds for their seance. Where there are 80 of me surrounding a moth priest, trying to channel their power to his flaming crown. Like moths to a flame, they gather to his fiery crown. And help him to ascend to become an outer god. An old one. I see. That one took a long time purely because hand placing that many individual me's and making it so it's optimized takes a lot of effort. I see. It says I had to strip all 80 copies of me, make them all functionably, make them as optimized as possible, cut out armatures, minimize textures. Because and all in all, it was even with a 6-minute animation with 80 copies of me, it's 60 megabytes, which once again makes me question, how does anybody hit 100 megabytes? I had 80 copies of me, and I couldn't do it. How people hit 150 megabytes?
That is an easy answer. It's called 4K textures and lots of options.
Yep, I know the answer. It just wows me every single time I see somebody in a 150 megabyte avatar. I go, how?
I got another question.
You stopped. Yes,
I got another question. Out of all the avatars that in the haunted part of it, because that's where we're at, which one's your favorite?
Like I said, the salesman is the number one. However, the salesman is a bit of a dichotomy. He can be one or both. He can be horror or he can be just goofy. In terms of just pure raw horror, that's a even tougher question. I'm literally flipping through my catalog right now just to see what I've made, because there's constant one. I've been rediscovering my own avatars recently with people, as I've forgotten things that I've made and I've needed to open them to see what they are and try to remember how they work. I think it's a toughie, but it's a little silly to say this, but I would say one is the giraffe. It's a giraffe moth that walks on 6 legs and has a giant head. That one's just a silly, fun re-rig. Bendy and the Moth Machine is another fun one, which is one that can convert the world to the yellow and black art style of Bendy and the Ink Machine. Leaves ink trails, creates an ink cloud around them, and has a beating ink heart.
Oh, wow.
That and the anxiety avatar, where I made an avatar that uses psychology to induce anxiety in individuals.
Oh.
Of course, that was, and it was effective.
Oh.
And people, my favorite thing with it was telling people that I made it at the time, and then having people say like, "Oh, I'm sure I'll be fine. You go ahead, try it on me." And then I just flip one switch, and suddenly they don't know the difference between their left eye, right eye, left hand, and right hand, and they're on the ground going, "Oh my god, oh my god." Because I just swapped every single aspect of how they function as a human.
Oh. So what made
And
you
the
want to make
brain
that
immediately
avatar?
panics. I made it because I wanted to, more so than body horror, I've always been a fan of psychological horror stuff and mystery stuff. So, for example, out of all the slashers, like Saw is my favorite, not Jason or Freddy or any of those. And Saw purely does mind stuff. Sure, his traps are physical, but they're all well thought out and make you think. There's and also I've loved movies like Cube. If you've ever seen Cubed.
Yeah, I think. Isn't that one where they're stuck in a giant cube
Where
which
it's
acts like they have to go through trials or something?
a tesseract.
Yeah.
They're trapped in a tesseract where it's a psychological horror more than anything, where they'll even see like copies of themselves from different points of time. They'll exit a room, and upon exiting the room, they'll see in the next room themselves exiting and climbing and exiting the same room they're entering.
Oh, wow.
And I absolutely love and that's why Spamton there, not Spamton, non-copyright infringing salesman moth is one of my favorite avatars I've made, as he is almost entirely pure psychological and the estranged. He's versus the old stuff, which was pure body horror, which has its fun, but it's not really thought-provoking. It's just fun in the get your blood pumping way. It doesn't get inside of your head as much. It's I made it just to see. Sometimes I make avatars just to see if I can make them, and they're also ways for me to test systems. So more than likely, where that avatar came from is I was playing with a shader system of some sort, discovered that I could invert controls in random conflicting ways, and I was like, well, I might as well make a whole avatar themed around this. So what it does is it inverts your controls, and not like evenly, like only one side does one way and one way does the complete opposite. And it can also play a shepherd tone, which is a sound that sounds like it's infinitely descending, creating a constant air of something's going to happen. And then a button that just turns off the lights in a world.
Oh.
Makes everything dark. So now you're like, I have no control over my body, things are dark, and there's a noise, and it's making me go crazy. Let me see. For HorrorCon, though, one thing I would love to do, I still need to figure out what I want to do for my booth for HorrorCon.
Oh.
I sat down there and brainstormed to mount some things off of you. I remember back when Project Community was still ongoing.
Yep.
One idea that I still love the prospect of is the jump scare booth, where it's a booth that's not visible until it's within a certain range of you.
Oh.
And then it just has a gradual sound effect of just that generic scream.mp3. Oh, that or the Vine Boom sound effect at full blast playing at random intervals. just to jump scare people. Make it memorable.
So I have a question for
you
you.
didn't. Oh, by all means, I love questions.
So this is more of a technical question. Could you, through shader magic, simulate lagging? You know, like if people think they're laggy or things are going super slow,
Okay, through shader magic,
or heads or anything
I
in general.
don't know that I can, but I have one of my concepts on my new Discord lyrics lab. One of the concepts written down is in fact a lagging avatar using a essentially here's a bit of behind the scenes knowledge, which is the whole point of lyrics lab. Ruins them, it takes away some of the magic but lets you know how it works. So I have an avatar that I've been working on recently where you can't see the real out. It looks like a normal avatar, but what it actually is the real body is invisible, and the controlled avatar has every single bone in the body rigged to identically match the motion of the invisible avatar, which allows me complete control of that avatar as a puppet of my body, which means I can do things you normally can't do on a normal avatar.
Okay.
As normal avatars have limitations on functions, just they do that for your safety, or just to prevent the system from having issues. One thing you can do with having a puppet version of yourself, though, is freeze the animations and potentially set that on a animation loop that, like, every other second it'll just freeze it and then unfreeze it and re-update to where you are. So you can make a functioning lagging avatar by doing so. And I'm pushing that concept one step even further. I've recently been working on a hypothesis and have proven it works. It was the avatar I joined in on that you said was very bright, that has the ability to swap my vision and my voice with another copy of myself, allowing me to exist in two states and places
Were
at
you
once.
the moth behind you?
Yes, I can switch between them.
That is sick. I remember in the
The
last
eyes
episode
and
you were
mouth
talking
can be
about the
moved
concept.
independently. It was, and I got the concept functioning now. It still has some bumps to it. Definitely still has some bumps and patches to smooth out, but overall, it is functioning. Now that I have that, I can actually utilize that in a lagging avatar to also make the voice lag in game. AKA, I could make it so you only hear the voice during the active state of the avatar. So I could just make it cut off. Just be like, hey, I'm over something's. And then I was gonna add I was gonna make a fake icon on this overlay icon on the screen to say that, like, user is disconnected.
So
how to get out of situations.
What kind of concepts were you thinking of for HorrorCon? Since that's coming up and spoopy
For
season is
HorrorCon?
close. Yeah.
Oh boy, I could visibly show you my current pride and joy.
Oh, let's go.
One of my first non-moth avatars, the orb.
Oh. That looks neat, but also a bit unnerving. That's pretty dope.
I see in all directions. The orb uses another hypothesis I thought about, which is, can I make an avatar that walks via tendrils that attach themselves to the world and detach themselves from the world?
Okay.
The answer was after theory crafting, yes, you can see that every one of my tendrils is physically attached to a location, transfixing me here.
Oh wow. So if you were to move, it would like
All the
touch the ground,
tendrils.
and well, that's pretty sick.
Yes,
That's
and then
dope.
when I start moving, I can do this now. There you go.
Oh, that's
They
really.
surround you.
Oh, that's neat.
And now that I'm stationary, retransfixes.
Oh wow. So what was the idea for this avatar? What made you think of this one up?
I wanted something. It was the fact I had a hypothesis
Hmm.
for this. So, fun fact: a lot of avatars are basically chaining from other avatar concept ideas. I
Hmm.
get one idea, I work on that idea, and then that idea inspires a new idea. Where originally it started with a Cheez-It grenade I made in 1 hour, which was a grenade that explodes in Cheez-It dust and shoots Cheez-It shrapnel that sticks in every part of the wall, ceiling, floor, everywhere, and the grenade shouts "Flavor blasted" in robot voice.
That's funny.
Yeah, and I've yet to put it on an avatar, but it was one of the funniest things when I was making it, as I was participating in a 1 hour, one object course. I was just constantly making that joke. You walk up in the club, see a lady you like, and be like, "Hey girl, wanna get it?" Kink, flavor blast. Explode. You looking you looking like a snack. I think you need a little bit of flavor blast. It's just we just kept making jokes to keep replaying the animation. It was a fantastic time. That fella is introduced me to the concept of sticking particles to walls.
Ah.
And then I wanted to take it one further, and I questioned, could I make this as could I attach something to it and make it a functioning tendril system? Kind of like I saw Venom stuff and I was like, he's got tendril stuff. Can I make my own functioning tendrils? And then I'm like, well, what would have tendrils? Something round. And I'm like, the orb. Yes, make it flesh. Now it is the flesh orb. The flesh orb sees all, and they I am but an aspect. Our great eye in the sky is the one that we take, is our mighty one. He will take this world and take it elsewhere. He is looking for lands to take. Look above you, lion and raptor.
Oh Lord,
He is
it's
he
he's
is growing.
ginormous.
You can see the eyes on the by the way, the eyes, the tendrils themselves have eyes, and the eyes, as you could see, are warping them like they're
Oh,
trying to escape. Indeed,
that looks wild.
the more you know. Indeed, big boy. Also, he has my hat. Just so people know it's me.
Interesting. So,
Here we are.
so this is one of the things you want to bring to HorrorCon?
Yes, I didn't get to upload it because I didn't think to upload it. I intend to upload it some point in the next 24 hours. But I spent a good 3 hours last night in a call pushing updates for this fella, and he has changed quite a bit now.
Hmm.
He's still exactly identically the same, but it has other functions now. For example, mesh vertex rendering. AK, I
Oh.
can make it so the eyes bulge out of it and push out like they're contained in the orb and are trying to escape
Oh, that's
in all
unnerving.
directions. Oh yes.
With stuff
And
like that.
also he can release spores, which are
Oh.
miniature versions of themselves that also attach to walls and start to grow, and they keep growing over a full minute, expanding until it becomes claustrophobic space where everything is like 5 times bigger than him,
Oh wow.
surrounding you with the eyes.
I have a feeling the more you change
Then-
this, the more it's going to seem like a moving
Yep.
Shoggoth.
Yeah, and then we cut it off for the night when I got to the point where I was like, wait, we did meme for a second there. We were like, can I put other things than the orb? And then we just had giant pianos made of flesh being thrown around all over the place. I was like, this is funny, but I don't know how far we're gonna go with this concept.
Fucking piano.
Giant inflating pianos, just in all
God.
directions, no gravity. But now they not only reproduce copies of themselves, the copies also produce their own tendrils that attach themselves to all the surfaces, creating a
Oh.
flesh web, a web of flesh.
Flesh web. That sounds
Yes,
unnerving.
and it is as horrifying as it sounds. I got a picture of it, and it / a recording of it spreading. And I was like, "Oh God, this is and this is where I peaked tonight. I can't top this. This is awful."
Well, funny. It would be kind of cool to
Sorry.
see something with a flesh web, like a
Oh, sorry.
Shoggoth spider, and that's how it creates home.
True, that would be fully doable technically. That should be fully functionally creatable. Yeah.
So what you're creating for HorrorCon is been a year since you've done stuff like that. You said there's been a.
It's been a good. I've done horror on and off, but it's like one to two horror avatars per 50 in the last year and a half to 2 years.
Okay.
So it used to be like 100 avatars in a row that were like horror themed. Like 90 out of 100 would be horror themed.
Yeah.
And now it's slowed down to like an average of 5 out of every 100 in the last 200.
Okay.
It's significantly smaller. But at the same time, my amount of avatars I've been producing has also been slowing down quite heavily. As that was back in 2.0 days. In 2.0 days, you only had like 4 toggles because you had 8 slots on your expression menu and needed one for on and one for off. And the only way to really get more was know how to make an inventory system. And oh God, making a functioning inventory system. So if I wanted to make another avatar, if I wanted more than 4 things, I'd have to make a whole new avatar for those additional separate things. Also, these questies don't know how good they have it nowadays. We didn't always have the scaling tool. Back in my day, if you wanted a smaller avatar, you had to upload an entirely separate avatar that was half the size. That was how it used to be. I got multiple avatars that are just the same avatar but different scaled from back in the day. Oh, it's one of the best things they added to Vrchat, though. I love the built-in scaling tool. It just made so many avatars irrelevant. There's a ridiculous amount of avatars in the game that are just size variants from back then.
So
for many people.
So with the avatar scaling system, would that change? Would there be other avatars you could change to adapt to the way you initially thought of them?
I have actually been doing some avatars where they are throwback avatars, where they are modern takes on some modern configurations or old concepts brought to light with my new knowledge. The issue with that though is like one, there's so many. There's so many. Some of them use things I don't have anymore or concepts. Like genuinely, some of them I've tried rebuilding and I've had to just angrily stare at my avatar in a mirror in game and go, "How did I make you? Tell me your secrets." Because I've genuinely forgotten how I functionally made some of the avatars. And I can't reference them because they came from an old computer on a old hard drive back in the day. and it was in 2.0. So a lot of them were built in 2.0, which is discontinued now.
Oh.
So, and also there's the deeper problem that 2.0 avatars are starting to break now, which is unfortunate. It was inevitable. It was something we all had to come to terms and accept with, that stuff wasn't going to work forever. But my old 2.0 avatars used a custom emote gesture menu that would auto-generate the toggles for you.
Oh, wow.
However, that entire system is breaking now, as of half a year or so ago, where now they just do not function that way. I can only toggle them on. I can't toggle them off. I have to reset the whole avatar.
Mm.
It is a problem. One moment here.
Of course.
I just received a low battery notification. I'm playing in AirPlay mode, and let me connect a cable to my headset directly.
Of course. We don't want
Let me see here.
we don't need a dying DownLyric. Not at all.
Oh yes, you'd get desktop DownLyric in that case.
Desktop lyric.
What? Indeed. One moment. I will return very shortly.
Of course. And for an image of Raptor, who's also currently probably AFK. Oh, you're alive.
You pushing me away already?
No, I thought you were
Wow.
AFK, and I was gonna do a funny look. Well, he's AFK. Raptor's
No,
AFK.
I was.
Because you're kind of standing there like
I'm
this.
Yeah, I'm sitting there staring at him. Listen to what he's saying. He's got to say what?
I was just making it funny.
I can tell. It's okay, folks. He's just making it funny. He thinks Raptor's so small, and he always looks up anyhow.
Yes.
I'm always looking up. You can't. Yeah. So I'm AFK most of the time.
Well, to be fair, at your size,
Whoa.
everything is up.
Pretty much.
Oh, you're alive.
Back in my day, if you took your headset off, you had to restart the whole game. It broke.
Oh, really? Vrchat would just break.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not the avatar. Just Steam VR didn't like that.
Yeah, you didn't take your gear
headset
off.
is
It's fucking
disconnected.
slap in the ass. You've been disconnected.
Yeah.
What the hell? I only left for 5 seconds. Yeah, that's what happens when you leave your
Jay
gear.
got so angry.
Mm-hmm.
These questy kids,
A lot of people
they don't know how good they have it.
Yeah, tell me about it.
The
Let me see if I can make that joke one more time during this interview. Rule of 3.
Back when I was your age, we took the headset off, we'd go to the void.
Back in my day, back in my day, we didn't have this thing called anti-cheat, and we got this thing called anti-cheat introduced. And before it happened, we had nothing but crashers, and everybody hated anti-cheat. Well, did you have any crashers afterwards? Well, no, but it's the spirit of the book.
To be honest, I think a lot of people just want to be mad about something. And mods made a lot of things great, but
I
a lot of
also
those
think so.
people just like being mad. EAC is just one of those things that people can
Get
be mad
angry nowadays, and people seem to forget that at this core, this is a game. It's supposed to be a place to escape. A place where you don't have to worry about religion, politics, or any sort of subject matter of the sort.
at.
You could just be literally whatever you want to be, from a sentient Mothman with compound eyes, a small dingo with a cowboy hat, or a giant fox raptor with multiple tails, dressed up like they're going to Night City.
Oh, I became a dingo. I didn't know it was a dingo.
You're a
man.
dingo
Do I look
now.
like
Dingo ate my baby.
I'm a dingo? What?
Don't worry, it's a reference that probably a very small group of people would know. Don't worry about it.
I get the
Dingo ate
reference
sure
my
the
of
baby.
Dingo
fucking-
ate my baby. I know that exact news story.
I sure shit don't. I think I don't want to know. Thank you
Congratulations,
very much.
Raptor. You've been promoted to dingo.
Well, we'll have to add that. Remind me to add that to my list.
Hey, at least that's a lot better than some of the nicknames you've gotten.
Shit. But hey, what can we say? It's just a word.
Hmm. So,
It's just the word.
word.
These trees look like
The word
cactuses.
the word for today is dingo. Can you actually spell that, boys and girls? If
Hello,
you
boys
can,
and
don't
girls.
come to
Can
me.
you see the dingo?
Yeah.
Good job.
AUSSIE.
Sorry.
Oh my God! Let's find the dingo in the picture. Ain't that red? It's
We
like
gotta
finding
find the
Wally.
big D. Find the big D in the picture.
Big D.
Safe
Big
search on,
D.
please.
Yeah.
He wears a chain.
Yeah, look for the big D. Another word for D is dick.
Well, I
I wonder
said
if my
safe
name's
search on,
not
Raptor.
Richard.
Bluntly say
I said safe search on.
Oh,
Google
Safe
safe
my
search
bad.
on.
Google
Sorry.
incognito
Whoops.
mode.
I didn't know. Well, I
No
didn't
one
say
must know.
big. I just said the D word. My last name's not Richard.
You're right. It's Raptor. First
Alexa.
name Dirty, last name Raptor.
Alexa, send a message to Richard. Hello. Thank you.
You know, my favorite thing. You know
Oh my-
what? I've just come to
my
the
God.
realization that all three of us have names that are two things put together, are two different words. The odds of this happening are very slim. I like how it degrades too. That's two animals, and then that's a noun and an animal, and then it just degrades to two noun, two concepts. It's degrading.
It's very
Oh,
degrading.
We're
What?
learning. We're learning how to educationally and nouns, verbs, and places and things. Wow, we're doing
I
up.
love
We're doing
verbs and
great.
places and things.
Mm.
I have those in my coffee in the morning. If I
Hey,
drink
Lion,
it.
Yeah.
Lion, do you remember Junction? What's your function?
Yeah.
Come on TV. There you go.
Yeah. You know that's about your era, not mine, but I
The
still have
electric
seen
company.
Mm-hmm.
The electric company.
it.
Oh God, now I am old. Thanks. Now you just threw me way up there. Holy shit! The electric company. My God.
Oh
I
yeah.
used to watch that when I was a kid. Oh my
Oh,
God!
yeah.
Wow.
Throwback
What are you watching?
Thursdays.
What do you watch?
But we're so out of date. It's Friday. Throwback Thursdays.
And what you know?
Let's
What
go.
sucks is when you used to watch it at home and your school involved it in your education.
I know, right? I know that sucks, Joe Rogan. I really feel you on this. You know,
Joe
you know
Rogan.
what sucks about society today? They don't bring out the VHS tape and play Bill Nye anymore. What society come to?
I don't
I
know.
miss Bill Nye.
We have to figure that
Bill
one
Nye
out
now
together.
yells at people on TV.
Yells at
What's
people
good?
on the TV. So you feel like you're sitting there looking at your screen and it's yelling back at you, going, "God, I didn't say anything. Why are you yelling at me
They
for?
also
What the hell did I
The
do?"
camera is pointed at an angle that they are directly making eye contact with you.
Oh yeah.
You did this, Bill Nye. It's like, I didn't do it, Bill. I was a good boy. I watched your film. I watched your stuff. You.
Why do you have it so close? What the fuck?
Because when I want them to look at you, I want you to stare into their souls.
Come here, folks. Do you know where Johnny lives? He's not here. It's not even Halloween, folks. It's in the middle of August.
Oh, speaking of Halloween, we need Snuff to finish our Halloween avatars for HorrorCon.
Oh, you're getting custom Halloween avatars?
We did last year. I don't know whether to announce our idea or wait for people to find out.
Big hat,
Wow, I feel
small fox,
Big hat, small
Not
fox.
to make this
Watch
sound.
Fox. Now watch it disappear.
Not to make this sound weird, but it looks like somebody's nards is sitting above my head.
Raptor's been
Hold
teabagged on
on, hold
camera.
on. No, no. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. Hold up. What did you say? How dare you? How dare you?
Teabag him on
I
camera.
see you. I'm judging you. Judgment eyes.
It's not what it looked like for my situation, but we won't go there.
God. Ugh. What?
Indeed.
Oh my gosh.
So, of all your avatars, then, what would be the most difficult to put together?
Now that one I do have a definite answer for. And that would in time constraints, the recent Ash moral of the story performance, due to the time constraints, was quite difficult and I had to rush a lot of elements. But the overall most difficult without that time constraint period, as Ash wouldn't be too hard without the time constraint, would be the Moth Den.
The Moth
As the
Den.
Moth Den is meant to be a... Yes, you have not seen the Moth Den proper. I only showed it once during the project community. Straight a 30-minute visual performance.
Oh.
It is essentially, I complained about people's nightclubs 2 years ago so much that I just made my own on a functioning avatar that gave people a visual stimulating experience, visually stimulating experience while they're inside of it.
Oh.
A cross-dimensional experience to music that is 30 minutes in length.
Oh, wow.
Yep. The Moth Den features over 16 menus full of content filled to the brim, all meant to just entertain. It's got what? I think it's got 24 songs on it. 24 songs on it, 4 menus of visual modifiers. It's got 2 menus of world environments.
Oh, wow.
A full menu of wall changing and multiple spawnables of floor elements.
Oh, wow.
And it took a long time to build all of that, because I had to build all of that and design them and try to make every single one unique from the other to give you a unique visual experience with each song that came through. So they'd be different from one another. And it's all done by hand. It's not pre-recorded animations to the music. I am doing it on the fly every single time. So in a way, almost every performance is unique because it has its individual quirks to it. Where sometimes I'll switch it up, and sometimes I'll just slip up or forget or mix up the timing, which makes each one slightly different from the other. And sometimes I do the songs in different orders. By the end of it, it is truly, I could say by the final track, it is truly an experience that you could only truly get in VR.
Oh, really?
Yes, because it utilizes certain elements that only VR players can experience. Not as in people on desktop can't see it, but in the fact that it doesn't give you the feelings of immersion you'd get outside of VR.
Ah. Okay. So,
Yeah.
what prompted this avatar then, this super difficult multi-menu club avatar?
That was because after complaining about those clubs for long enough, I had a friend who had heard about my plight and approached me about a group called Break that owned something called The Core, which was a performance that only happens apparently 3 times a year. It is a club that was a circular area with the DJ booth in the middle of it. And the core was one of the best experiences I've had in VR chat at any sort of event. One of the best events I've ever visited. Where for a period of an hour and a half, the world constantly changed and transformed around me. One point it was black and white with flowing lightning coming on the walls, and then another point, all the walls disappeared and we were inside of a giant space capsule, and gravity turned off, and now everybody was floating off in different directions, and I was stuck on the ceiling with a guy of the thing with my hand going like, "This is crazy." So to him, he's like, "Yeah, I know, it's crazy, it's insane." And they turn the gravity off, we all fall down, and then they maxed out saturation, so it suddenly transitioned from dark, no gravity to gravity, but with beautiful colors. And it took you through different biomes and such. It takes them, they only do 3 a year because it takes a very long time to put that kind of stuff together. And also allow DJs to test out all the different elements to build their set. As those are also done by hand. So it prompted me to go ahead and just make my own, and I said, why not? And it's it is my largest avatar to date, menu-wise and menu content-wise. And it was also one of my most painful to update, as the expression menu broke on a total of 3 times. I had to rebuild the expression menu 3 times. And when there are over 16 plus expression menus you need to rebuild each time, you don't want to rebuild it again.
I don't blame you.
It's so
I don't blame you one bit on that. Wow.
16
That's
maxed out
nuts.
menus you have to rebuild each time it broke, one at a time, one toggle at a time. It was very tedious, but it was very much worth it. Unfortunate to say that unfortunately the original Unity file that contained it became corrupted.
Oh no.
And I never made a prefab out of it. So I still have all the original materials for it, but I don't have a prefab of the whole thing put together. And I just was not willing to go through the struggle again to rebuild it all, to update it further. It already felt like a pretty complete package as it was. There wasn't too much to add. As it had multiple updates. It was on version 1.3. So it was the Coraline update where I just added the Coraline soundtrack, because why not? It's my thing. I can have whatever music I want. I want a Coraline. One of my
Hey, you can
Coraline became the intermission soundtrack. Where
and all your creations and stuff that you've learned, what would you take with to create the ultimate character?
Hello, we're here to interrupt the most interesting thing being said in our current video to ask you a favor, which is, would you mind joining us at any of the socials we have, such as Discord? We're hanging out all the time playing video games, so you can catch us there very frequently. We have I run Twitter for us, which is LionTurtle21 on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. It'll always be Twitter. But either way, there's that. We also have a Patreon, which we actually have a whole other show for our Patreon members, which are Aliquum and the newest addition to the bunch, Future Oracle,
Niche, and Forbidden Zero, good friends of ours.
Yeah, thank you very much, you guys, for joining. It means a whole lot that you're there, and hope to see you there as well. We have a whole other show. There are some free ones we have released as well for the audio for you to listen to and to see what it's like. It's like a whole other show as a thank you. With that said, please enjoy the rest of your podcast on YouTube.
The ultimate character. So what would I take with?
Learning all what you've done and the stuff that you can recall, what you recall, knowing you have so many of the avatars. What would be the best thing you could put out there in an avatar?
God. Oh God. I mean, that is a good word. The ultimate avatar, if I didn't have a 9 to 5 and could just fully commit and sit there and just produce one avatar, it would basically, well, God is a somewhat of a decent word. As I've gotten to the point with my recent avatars in just the last month and a half, I finally achieved a major breakthrough that's been 2 years in the making, which allows me to, well, the best way to explain is to show you. Let me see. I can now rewrite I can now rewrite a world to be a different world entirely in appearance.
Oh.
Okay.
Without you, and it does not use just an overlay shader to achieve this effect. It has the ability to make almost any other shader compatible with it as long as I can touch that shader inside of Unity. I can't change other people's avatars, but I can change any other shader to be compatible. With a button press.
Holy
Oh,
shit.
shit. Oh, shit. Wow.
Holy crap.
You're now on the Mushroom Island, the alien space garden, with a... Yep.
So I'm going to turn off the camera for this so I can see you. Holy shit. With this world, does it overwrite the colliders, or you still like have the world colliders you're in?
Now, I cannot affect colliders. That is something that is actually impossible. There used to be a glitch once upon a time that allowed you to have access to colliders, but to my knowledge, they patched that glitch since.
Yeah.
It was very much a no-no. At the same vein, I can also do this. We're now in a campground. We have fire here. And you'll notice here...
And I'm in
this
the
world
middle
has
of it.
Now,
Getting
now
close
it's
to being
a little
uncooked
warped
on.
due to this world having an interesting lighting system going on. But you'll see how you have the booths over there, the sales booths.
Yeah.
Now, if I put my system in place here and do this, that's a chair now to sit on.
Oh, wow.
It's gone. So I can remove the world and make my own world inside of it.
Wow.
So with this system now, I now have the capabilities to essentially make any world my own, any world, any shape I pretty much wish it to be. So I would say my ultimate avatar, if it accumulated all my knowledge, would be terrifying.
Let me guess, it would immediately
as I've
rewrite
told people
worlds,
over the
colliders, shaders, and just make it whatever you want it to be.
I tell people that my specialty is I don't make I make avatars in reverse. Most people will do avatars where they design the avatar and then they shade it, they color it, they attach some things and call it done. I start with conceptualizing everything that goes around the avatar, and then I do the avatar last, typically. The actual avatar itself last. All its systems come first. So my specialty, as I tell people, are reality, dimensions, and worlds. And rewriting all of those different factors and changing them. So in my specialty of doing that, I have envisioned making a world within a world where conceptually right now, I'm conceptualizing making an avatar that has the ability to change into another avatar while you're wearing the avatar and functionally view yourself inside of a different world with other people in alternate avatars of themselves in that world with interactables inside the main world.
Oh, wow.
So imagine there's another world up above you in the sky that you just can't see, and there are people here who are moving their arms and such like that, but they're not there. Their consciousness is up in the other world in a completely different looking avatar, It's like if you were in Raptor's avatar up there instead, interacting and talking to someone like me up there, and then Raptor's down here having to poke a contact on your body to get your attention, to put an overlay on your screen that says someone's trying to contact you
Oh.
in the main world, aka diving deeper. Why stop at just virtual reality? Augment virtual reality. Go a layer even deeper. Virtual
wow.
augmented reality.
Damn.
Sounds
See?
like a black hole.
Where you get so invested in the alternate reality, and I've already had people experience this, where if I leave up my other worlds or other locations for long enough, or modify the world for a long enough duration, their brain automatically starts to forget that it's not a part of the world. So it throws you off heavily, and just is almost like an out of body moment for a couple seconds after it's turned off, after a long period of exposure.
Oh, wow.
For example, I used to turn daytime worlds into nighttime worlds with a button, make it dark, a working starscape, calm music, hang there for half an hour to an hour and just talk. And then when I disable it, they're just genuinely shell-shocked because it's just suddenly full daytime again. Things like that.
I've got a question. Is it possible, where you just did what you just showed here, is it possible that with taking one avatar and being in multiple worlds at the same time, meaning you could be here, all of a sudden you only are allowed to be in a world for only so many seconds, or maybe 5, I'm just saying, for example, 5-10 minutes, and you could hop to another world, be there, but you're talking in all 3 worlds.
Now, if all 3 worlds are located inside the same instance and I make them layered realities, yes. Not like actual game worlds where there are 3 separate instances you have to load. That's not doable, but I can, and I have made layered realities. They were a step in the 2-year process where I've made an avatar that has different layers of reality that all exist on top of each other. That you can perceive differently depending on how I swipe the air. So imagine I'm just dragging my fingers along a foggy window you can't see, and when I wipe away the mist on it, now you have a window you can view into that other reality that exists on this reality, on top of this reality. That's what I made an avatar that could do, and then with the other hand could also drag in the same spot, and you'd see another third reality existing on top of it. It was an avatar and then if I just randomly move around, you will have 3 different locations you are viewing at the same time.
Oh, wow.
And it actually, for some people, it actually starts to cause headaches for some people. As for some folks, they have reported that it is visually straining to look at. Just because it is so much for the brain for some people, it's so much for the brain to process at once that the eyes just go no. As you are literally perceiving 3 places at once with 2 eyes.
Oh, wow.
All on top of each other. I ended up making a whole functioning world. It's a tiny, but I made it just so that I could show people how it functioned without needing to show layered on top of layered on top of layered on an avatar.
Now,
just nice, clean side by side.
Here's a fun question.
With
a system like that, where you can like open windows to alternate realities, could you, in theory, with injunction with like a hologram system, like connect instances where you can look into from your instance? So like give people the illusion that they're together while there's 4 or 5 instances, but you're in one instance.
Now, when you say instance, I am a little confused.
You know, like, for example, let's say this world has like 4 separate instances and each person has like an avatar or Unity package where you can connect realities through your thing. Like you can't like be
So
in them,
once
but you
again,
can
as
peer
I
into.
stated with world instances, you got to load into world instances to be inside of them.
Mm.
So that's not possible because you have to physically leave that server and connect to a different server. It's the same logic as nothing wrong with the idea. It just follows the same kind of thought. Like if you're playing a shooter and somehow shooting someone who's playing on a different server, you just can't do it. But what you can do, and it's partly something else that I've been working on, which you got a tiny demo of in our last interview, is an avatar, is making a functioning avatar that allows you to move your vision and your voice to another location.
Yes.
So you can disembody. That is something I'm currently working on. So for example here, there we are. Hello.
Hello.
I'm in this avatar now. Let me get a look at myself. Hey, I'm not working I'm looking pretty good. I'm working pretty good. Let's go.
Let's go.
So if I reset this to synchronize it with everybody, I can separate. So you'll notice, do you guys see an avatar off to the side on my left?
Yes.
I
Do you
don't
see
know.
it, Raptor?
No,
Look to
I
your
don't.
I
left.
see
I only
both of
see
them.
one of you.
I
don't
both
see
of
it.
you.
I'm in a
Show
quest.
him, Raptor.
I'm
Show
in a
his avatar.
quest.
Oh yes. Oh
I've-
wait, no, you're not a.
I'm on PC, but my quest is not showing it.
Oh, okay. So it's a
I
little
see.
bit tricky.
Now it is. Now he's there. He's way over here. He's not where you were pointing. He went way over there.
Yes, yeah, he's to the left.
That
I
was-
didn't mean to point there.
Yeah.
You have to understand, I was in his body. I'm in his body.
Okay.
Hi, Raptor. That's me. I'm waving at you and looking at you. That's my voice is not where I am right now. In
Yeah,
fact,
it's over here.
yes, in fact, I can just be over here now. Hi, Raptor.
Oh wow,
How's it
that's
going?
cool.
Oh wow.
I can
You
be
can
in
switch
two
from
places
one-
at once. That's indeed. I'm Lyric, and I'm down. We've got a bit of a yin and yang factor going on here. Sure do. It's a great time.
So
That is cool.
it
And
is.
let me tell you, it definitely has given people. It has spooked some people a little bit, which was not intentional. Some people don't know how to handle having two things talking to them back and forth from two different directions. You surround them. So yes, this is another me. This is functionally me, and I can switch places with them. There is a limitation built into the game, though, unfortunately, that there's nothing I can do about. And that limitation is the fact you can only have one audio listener on an avatar. Audio listener is how we hear. If you attempt to place another, it'll automatically tell you need to remove it before you can upload the avatar. And from everything that I've seen and everything I've heard, from what little information there is, the only element that cannot be changed or moved on an avatar is where the hearing is. As it's built into the descriptor SDK, sort of. It's kind of a built-in system where you're hearing from. So I can entirely move my voice over to there. I'm still looking at you right now. My voice is over there though. I can move my eyes over there, so now I'm functionally looking at you from over here. However, I can't move where I hear from, so I will always hear from this guy. So Vrchat has a system in place where to my knowledge, it automatically disables audio after a certain distance. It doesn't silence it, it just functionally disables it. So unless you have a world where you have an A and B channel that can interact with each other, setting this guy, having 4 people in this avatar and each one set one of these at spawn, will not allow them to hear each other. Very unfortunate. If I could do that, I could functionally make an avatar system where everybody has a body double, and they can swap consciousness with that body double at any time and call a meeting of the council from anywhere in the world. Just
Oh,
make a
wow.
pop-up. The council will meet, and then you all transfer into that body and just go, I have arrived. I am ready for the meeting. Just like that.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
Yes, unfortunately, it is a limitation of VR. There's nothing I could do about it, but it's still fun to do this with what I have, and it's also figuring out how to do this because there was almost no one to teach me this. I had to make it up for the most part. There was an avatar that has a similar property where it can move voice, but it can't move where you're seeing and moving. I just looked at it and stared at it for a long time until my brain broke down how it was made. And I just concept tested a lot of theories. And eventually I cracked the code on it. The next step with this one is actually making it so that, one, I'd like to be able to split into 3 me's.
Oh.
So I can potentially have one that hears, one that speaks, and one that sees. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. 3 different ones split into 3 different people. So I'll be standing on the left of you, and I'll be like, I'm sorry, could you speak to the one on the right of you? He's the ears, I'm the mouth. But also I need you to face forward because the eyes are looking directly at you, and it's rude to not to make eye contact. You'll be surrounded with 3 directions.
In other words, you're just getting fucked from all 3 directions. Is pretty much what it amounts to.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yep, it's also opened up a new door on like freaky things I can make with it. So this updated version doesn't have it, but it used to be that I conjoined consciousness with it in order to achieve the effect, aka their neck and head stretched to connect with my neck and head.
Oh.
Originally, I've made that no longer visible, so you can't see how messed up the behind the scenes looks to make this work. But there is definitely some very invisible body horror going on to achieve this. It is oh goodness. Because yeah, I am genuinely like stretching and mashing my consciousness and my physical soul to get into that body. To exist in 2 states and control both at once. Don't mind the fingers on that one, by the way. That just happens. It's because I haven't. That one does not have its finger bones rigged at all yet because I didn't want to bother while I was testing. As finger bones are incredibly tedious because you have to do every single joint on every single finger. I was like, I don't feel like it right now. But yeah, this is. I don't even remember what the original question was anymore. I've just been explaining and showing how this functions.
I know that's
Having
perfectly
a good time
fine.
about it.
So another question, because I remember you said it in our DMs between each other. You have a huge list of ideas. Effectively, how long is that list, and how long do you think it'll take you to complete it?
It depends on which one you're referring to.
Yes.
As I have a 10-page Word document that is all small summaries for a variety of different ideas. That's 10 pages long. Each one has their own summary, and each one has varying degrees of extra stuff that goes along with them, ranging from a couple sentences to 36 pages of documentation.
Oh, wow.
Or more to them. And those are all non-VR chat ideas. From scripts to games to concepts to shows. Writing episodes for them. Meanwhile, in VR chat has a lot to them. As I said, I actually finally did something I've been thinking about doing for months and I've talked about in the past, which is developing a new Discord called Lyrics Lab, which was just meant specifically to have a place to catalog all of my ideas in one fixed place, as Discord does not delete any chat history. As
Okay.
long as it's not a thread, it keeps it. So in a way, Discord can also be used as an archiving tool. Yeah. Which is very nice. So now I don't have to keep those inside sticky notes in Google Keeps or little pieces of paper in real life. I can put them physically in there to keep track of all the avatar and world ideas I have. Now, I will say with almost absolute confidence that I will never finish all the ideas I have. I will never will. There's too many there, and they are too large in concept and size, and I am constantly coming up with more, so it just every time I get close to finishing one, two take its place.
Oh.
It is an ever-growing and expanding list, and if I got into the worlds are extremely ambitious. And I don't make worlds, so that's also a problem. Never been a fan of making worlds myself. I respect others who do. It takes an entirely different mindset to make worlds, though. Avatars and worlds are two different mindsets. One works on, in a way, avatar creators are people that sculpt models and make things that have one specific high focus. And people who make worlds are ones that can sculpt, are people who enjoy making landscapes and buildings and such like that. And furniture and all those other things. Avatars are for those that like making people and animals. Worlds are for people that enjoy making everything else that's not a living thing.
Okay.
And I like the things I make to be able to move and interact. You'll see a lot of movement on almost everything I make. Some sort of movement on almost everything. You see.
So, have you ever thought about making, at least attempting making a world of some sort with like using what you know?
Yes, I have actually produced, I believe, 9 worlds. They're in varying states. I hold a philosophy, if you will, of not deleting what you've made, as even if you're not exactly proud of it, or it's not the best thing, or you don't see it as very great, don't delete it, because it's a sign of how far you've come. And it's a way you can physically look at. And anytime you feel like you're not that great or haven't achieved much, you can go back through your history and see just how much progress you've made. And you really don't realize how far you've come until you look back at where you've started over time.
That is a good point.
I'm now making things that overwrite worlds now and make new environments. And when I started out, I couldn't figure out how to make my character the color blue. I had to learn. We all start somewhere.
Yeah. Well, as the saying goes,
so
the first step to a long journey is always the first step. I fucked that up like a wet dream, but whatever. You get the point.
It's okay. You can't run. You have to walk to run.
Yep. There we go.
Don't go full sprint walk. Mama always said life is like a box of Hondas. Let me see.
Box of Hondas.
As they say. Honda. Yep. Love them. Gotta get them Accords.
It's okay until somebody sticks their finger in it going, I don't like that flavor. I want the caramel.
I don't.
Well, Mr. Raptor,
I want.
That's according to you.
Dark chocolate. A dark chocolate Honda.
Oh. Here we go with the puns. Oh my God, I should have never.
I love puns.
Yeah, please don't get him started. We'll be here for another 4 hours.
Gosh dang. You'll hear no complaints from me. But as far as the ideas go, as I said, worlds are quite ambitious. I do have an issue where I like to shoot. When it comes to avatars, a number of my avatar concepts are graspable, as avatars have limits that you can aim to achieve. However, worlds don't have limiters. And those lack of limiters provides somewhat of a lack of a challenge to me. That's one of the aspects I really enjoy about avatar making, is due to having constraints, the constraints eventually kind of give me a point where I have to say I'm done, or I have to make a new avatar. And working within constraints also gives me constraints to push. I have something that shows just how far I can push the game and see if I can go beyond ordinary limits. But with a world, there is no limit. You can just keep going with the world. You can just make it last forever. I've seen 1 or 2 worlds that are over a gigabyte in size. Have I been inside them? No. I saw they were a gigabyte and I went home. But I know they exist. Let's see. So people can just make anything with the world. It doesn't need to be optimized thanks to labs. It can be beautifully handcrafted over a period of months. It can be thrown together in one afternoon. Worlds don't have limitations or boundaries to work in, though. And as I said, require a specific mindset. So the worlds that I want to make are ones that specifically feel more alive. One of the concepts that I worked on was, and I'm still storyboarding the concept and bouncing it off of people to this day, is a series of boss fight worlds where it feels somewhat lively. A la boss fight style, a la No Straight Roads, a la Hi-Fi Rush, where they're built and designed around music, and each one has their own unique theme to them and style, and the bosses talk and speak during their fights and have interactions with the player. So it feels more immersive, it makes them feel alive, and to top it off, it's got a great tune, and it's entirely built around the tune.
Oh wow.
Where you're not dealing damage to its health bar, instead you're just trying to survive, or you're trying to complete an objective. For example, one of the first concepts, funnily enough, I have a demo world for the first phase of one of those bosses I made 2 years ago. It was for the Void Moth fight. And the Void Moth's whole gimmick was it was going to use a bunch of other creatures, other bosses' gimmicks, all fused into one as a hidden boss. So, in order to complete his first phase, you need to wall run along these walls that seem infinite in height, and double jump to dodge lasers coming down the road, and make it to him at the end of the lane and try to jump attack him before getting stopped and having to jump down to phase 2.
Oh wow.
Which is where he whips out a bunch of void pillars. That was one of the hardest things I ever made, because I made it with a severe lack of knowledge and skill set in the area. And it was so tedious and so aggravating at the time that I ended up just putting it aside.
Oh wow.
As I did not want to progress further with how much time and effort it took to make that small section. Now I do have more skill sets in the areas and knowledge and capabilities to animate and do things I couldn't do before. But it would still be a pain and a half to make 5 fully functioning boss fights, as they're meant to be together. Each one would have a world, and you'd have a keypad where you could get a code after beating the boss, to unlock the record on the wall for their specific boss fight.
Mm.
Each one would have their own record you'd earn at the end.
Okay.
And the key codes would give you access to further boss fights. He's
Oh,
good.
it sounds like a cool idea.
But, yeah, those were some of those concepts. The worlds are the big inhibitors why I can't do everything. It's
Mm.
once again a case of as I've talked to you as well in Discord, there comes a point where you have to acknowledge where you dream too big, that you are in fact only one person. And if you push yourself too much, you'll get burnout.
Yes.
And that happened to me in the past. 2 years ago, coincidentally. 1.5 to 2 years ago,
Mm.
around that time.
How did you
Know
deal with
your
the burnout?
limits and do what's fun for you. I stepped away from avatar making. For a good month or two, I didn't touch it. And I only started making avatars again when I got the inspiration for something new.
Ah.
I sat down, I really, really badly wanted to make something based on a specific concept. I couldn't tell you what it was at the time. It's been so long and there's been so many. But it brought me back in and got me back in the mood. And from that point on, I focused almost entirely on making avatars when I feel the urge or the drive,
Okay.
rather than when feeling forced like I have to bring something new to the table every time I get on.
Mm.
Because that was what led to burnout, was constantly feeling like before I can get on and play actual VR chat, I have to make a new avatar or I can't play the game, as people want new stimuli.
Mm.
Now, I do it for the joy of it primarily and the challenge of it. Just to see if I can, not just for other people, but for myself.
Okay.
Also, that conflict of being only one person spawned this avatar, where I'm like, solution. What if I just become two people and be in two places at once?
Fair enough.
Problem solved. And what if I become 3 people? That's 3 times efficient. Big brain.
Big brain. Oh. I think. Did you die?
Pass through. I'm good. I activated
We
quest
almost went.
I tried doing the big brain and I double tapped my headset, putting me in pass through mode.
Now,
Gosh.
would it be possible to put people in a world that forced the cameras on? So for like, not like a world per se, like an avatar, you know how you said you could put people in different dimensions, but when they entered the dimension, they saw through their VR cameras, like through their index or quest, they saw through the cameras as the world, quote unquote, dimension.
You know, cameras don't work on Quest. First. So you can't have Questies see it. But as far as PC users, that is also tricky. I'm not sure that they'd have to be the avatar. They'd have to be an avatar of yours.
Ah.
They'd have to be an avatar that has the specific camera signature to it. So I do have a functioning avatar that has a functioning camera system on it, but the only people that can see it are people in my avatar. So that would be the only way I can manipulate someone else's vision or make it by default change their vision. That would be the only method there. You see.
Okay.
Raptor, do you have any personal inquiries? We've been there for a minute. Hello, small one.
Personal inquiries.
Hello, Starshine. The Earth says hello. Ah, yes, you missed out. You weren't here for the last one. So you missed out on a number of different interactions we had. Do you have any questions of your own or anything you'd like to know?
Not
okay if there's
really.
repeats. That's fair
Not
and
that it comes
understandable.
to
Well,
not that comes to mind.
Oh goodness.
Oh goodness.
Ooh. Also, my height.
Dino.
Okay.
Fun little
Your
gimmick
height.
here. People don't realize. Don't look at that one. That one's cursed. it's only gonna get
Yeah, I
worse the longer
noticed.
he exists. See?
Yeah, it looks like his hands are getting so far stretched out, he'll actually touch the top of the building before it's over with.
Give him long enough, he'll touch you. He's reaching.
He's got a salad fork for fingers, Mom.
I have nice salad fingers.
Oh,
My
no.
fingers are so soft.
He keeps going. He'll have his own
I
chopsticks.
love the sensation of rust on my salad fingers.
God.
I haven't thought about that video in so long. Fucking salad fingers.
Mm,
Fun
yeah.
fact. That's a whole series. It's actually a series
Mm.
of
Oh,
videos.
boy.
I believe there are 16 in total, and there was a multi-year hiatus, and they released the finale about a month or two ago for it.
Really?
Yes. It's fine. Salad Fingers had a definitive ending. Old boy finally got his end. And at the same time, Llamas with Hats is coming back.
Yeah, is it?
Almost
Aren't they
had
bringing back
one.
Charlie the Unicorn? Because like enough people wanted to.
Oh,
Gosh.
Oh, no. Oh,
Enough people wanted Charlie the Unicorn, so apparently it's coming back. Don't take my word for
no.
it.
God, so many meme videos are coming back. As long as the annoying orange stays in his hole in the
The
depths
annoying
of Tartarus,
orange.
I'm
Oh,
okay with
speaking of the annoying orange.
it. Stay in the
Oh,
depths.
God. You had to bring that annoying orange up. There goes the annoying orange.
I
Hey,
made it an emoji.
Hey, Raptor. Hey, Raptor. Hey, Raptor.
Yes,
No, 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 no.
Oh, God.
You know what's even scarier is the fact that I looked it up today, and the annoying orange is still going. They posted a
Oh,
couple of days
God.
ago.
It makes money. Why not? They
Wow.
found a thing to make money. It's literally aged perfectly for the TikTok brain generation. It
Yes, it
aged
did.
perfectly into them. It is
Oh, boy.
literally TikTok. It is the perfect TikTok thing.
I wonder. I personally wonder how that dude is doing, having to be the annoying orange every day of his
Mentally.
life.
I do wonder how he's doing mentally. I think he's doing fine. He looks at his bank account after doing thumbs up. Gives a thumbs up. I can't do thumbs up because I have no control over my fingers.
It's okay. I'll do the thumbs up for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Also, here's emojis.
Oh my god. That's so sweet of you. Here, have the direction of up.
The direction of up. Okay.
Yes.
Camera goes up.
Mhm.
Well, with that said, DownLyric.
Dirty, quick. Take this keyboard.
Well, with that said, DownLyric, thank you very much for coming back and chatting with us. If you're to give any advice
very much
to
so.
people making avatars, what would you tell them before we go? Or want to
If
make?
I was to give any sort of advice, I would say what I said before. That essentially, don't be afraid or feel like you need to make something for someone else. As making avatars is a form of creative expression and is a true window to you. And that form of self-expression is something no one can take away from you.
That's some very good advice.
It's you. That, and I'd probably
it is.
repeat what I said at the last time, which is encourage other people's ideas, because we are a community and we grow together by watering each other. Every idea somebody has is a flower, and waters of encouragement is what makes it grow.
Mm.
And by encouraging them, we make more flowers, which makes more encouragement flow until you have a beautiful garden of ideas that make up this game we call VR chat.
Mm. And make sure your watering isn't helping and encouraging and not peeing on somebody. Golden shower joke. I don't regret anything.
Okay,
am
smart
yellow.
ass. Oh boy.
I am yellow.
Oh,
You
God.
are yellow. Well, with that said, we'll ask you, the audience, a question, as we always do. If you're in VR chat, what is your favorite avatar? Let us know down below. And Raptor, you know the thing.
When, like he said earlier about using your Discord to type stuff and it keeps record of it for you and everything else, if you have a mental state of thinking about it, if you're writing stuff down and you're keeping it in record and everything else like this, is that arguing with yourself? Or is it a possibility that you might just actually win the argument? We'll talk to you later, folks. See you later. Bye.